Bhagavad Gita Chapter 1 Text 24 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha. Arjuna has asked to be brought into the open space between the two armies, and the request has been spoken directly to Lord Sri Krishna. Now Sanjaya says, O descendant of Bharata, being thus addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. On the surface, it sounds very simple. A chariot is moved, a position is taken, and now the story advances. Yet the Gita often hides its deepest meanings inside these simple movements. Notice how Sanjaya addresses Dhritarashtra here. O descendant of Bharata. It is a respectful form of address, and it quietly reminds him of the lineage he carries, as if to say that this moment is not only about a king watching a war, but about the heir of a noble line being asked gently to remember what that lineage stands for. And then the verse gives Arjuna a name. Sanjaya calls him Gudakesha. Gudaka means sleep, and Gudakesha means the one who has conquered sleep. There is a deeper hint inside that word too, because sleep can also point to ignorance, to that inner fog that keeps a person half awake to reality. So in one name, Sanjaya is pointing to Arjuna's capacity for wakefulness. Not the wakefulness of the body alone, but the wakefulness of the mind and the heart. How does a person conquer that kind of sleep? The tradition often answers in a very gentle way. A devotee remembers Lord Sri Krishna again and again, in waking life and even in sleep, not as a forced exercise, but as a natural pull of love, because what you remember constantly begins to shape you. It steadies you, it clears you. When remembrance is very deep, the mind is less easily carried away by distraction. The heart is less easily swallowed by confusion. That steady remembrance becomes a kind of inner collectedness. Some call it Krishna consciousness. Some call it Samadhi. That means absorption. That label is less important than the lived experience of it. And Sanjaya also reminds us who Lord Sri Krishna is in this scene. He is Rishikesha, the director of the senses and mind. Not merely Arjuna's charioteer, not merely Arjuna's friend. He is the one who understands the inner movements of every living being, even before they fully understand themselves. So when Arjuna asks to be placed between the two armies, Lord Sri Krishna understands what is behind that request. He understands what Arjuna is seeking and what Arjuna is about to encounter within himself. So the chariot moves forward, and at the same time, something else moves forward too. And that's clarity, the willingness to see, the willingness to be awake. Now let's bring this verse closer to our own inner life. Most of us think guidance means hearing the right words at the right time. We imagine that if someone wise would just tell us what to do, everything would become very easy. Yet this verse shows a different kind of guidance. Sometimes the most meaningful help is not an immediate answer. Sometimes the help is being brought into the right position. into the place where you can no longer avoid what you already know, into the place where truth can be seen without any distortion. Arjuna asks to be placed in the middle, and Lord Sri Krishna places him right there. Psychologically, that is very significant because the mind often wants clarity without any discomfort. It wants to understand, but from a safe distance. It wants truth, but in a softened form. The Gita suggests that real clarity is different. Real clarity is contact. It is meeting the situation as it is, not as we wish it were. And that is where the name Kurukshetra becomes a mirror for us. The sleep we need to conquer is not only physical tiredness, it is the sleep of avoidance, the sleep of denial, the sleep of distraction where we stay busy so we do not have to look too closely. Because if the senses and the mind are left to themselves, they pull in many different directions. They pull toward comfort, they pull toward fear, they pull toward stories that protect the ego. But when the mind is held by a higher remembrance, when attention is gently guided by Rishikesha, the inner director, then even a difficult view can be taken in without collapse. This verse is not only describing a chariot on a battlefield, it is describing the beginning of inner wakefulness. When life asks you to face something difficult, what kind of help are you looking for? Are you looking for someone to take the discomfort away? Or are you willing to be guided into a clearer view with steadiness beside you? Because sometimes the most compassionate thing is not to remove us from the battlefield of life, but to place us exactly where we can finally see and to help us stay awake there. May the wisdom of the Gita teach us the strength of steady guidance and the kind of wakefulness that comes from remembering what is highest. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namaha. Until we meet again.